Okay, so I'm going to show you something. So today it is January, I don't know, 29th, I think. This is outside. You can't see it because I've got plastic over the windows. There's a polar vortex, right? I don't know if you can see me over in the mirror over there because this thing's got it's not a really long range camera. But it is very cold. That's pure data. You can see there being projected. And so it is very cold, very, very, very cold in the lab. Um, and so uh, I live a certain way. I live in a way that allows me to take my experiences and explore their technological expression. So, and I do this because I find it interesting and I find that the things that come out are not necessarily going to be products, but they are, but they end up being useful. So, uh, the place that I'm living is, if you don't know, it's a squat. I've been squatting. I mean, I haven't had an address in fuck a really long time. Let's just put it like that. And this is the same place from the summer, but my electricity comes from a neighbor, right? And so I have been experimenting. And so, say for instance, right now, tonight it is going to be minus 13 degrees Fahrenheit, right? So I'm I like learning. So let me step over this stuff here. Try not to like ruin any of what I've already built. But this is where the super dope shit, because here in Detroit, even more so than in Berlin. Let's see. I have to get this over here. There we go. This place is cold for 6 months out of the year, right? So cold is not going to go away anytime soon. So I have made this little kind of cold air break. Now, mind you, you can't see, but you see me doing it. See, this is me right now. You see? So, um, I'm ready for that part. But see, I can't see my breath. So that lets me know that in a house with no heat and one space heater uh, that I can, that I'm not seeing my breath. It's cold, but it's not like so cold that I can see my breath, which is a kind of prerequisite for being able to program in this space. But also that as I sit here, I get to ponder certain things, right? See, so there is, there's my space heater. Here's, my speaker, my programming stuff, all my workshop stuff. I've got so much work to do on this, and I'm making a lot of really interesting progress. Um, but, and then of course, snacks. You can't really see them all, but I've got a lot of snacks laid around. Um, One of the things is that it's through this process that I get a chance to learn the things that are necessary to create the things that are going to be really, really useful in the short term. This is not going to last long. This is like tonight and tomorrow, and then I think, what is it, Friday? It's like 45 degrees or something. I mean, but it's going to drop again. It probably won't be a polar vortex, but it will drop again. And so this is very useful information. This is I mean, I can take someone else's word for it, but at the same time I have support. So I have neighbors, I have friends, who have already said, hey, if it gets too cold, you can stay with me and blah blah blah. That says to me, in my own logic, that okay, since I know that this is not something that I have to do, because I could always just not be here, you know, that's a thing too. I could just travel. That's one of the reasons why I don't have an address, so that I can be that kind of autonomous. But it's interesting to me right now to think in terms of, as I design the body wear, you know, how do I design it in such a way that's going to be warm, resistant to primarily water, to be honest, water in any of its forms, snow, water, these types of things. Water resistance, I mean, these are kind of resistant, but not really. I mean, I wouldn't go swimming in them, that kind of thing. And it becomes interesting to think about how to create something that's going to provide that function, right? And that I can 3D print, and then something that's going to also have an aesthetic that is going to be something that I really want to floss, to be completely honest. This is functional, but it's like, I'm not flossing. I'm just not cold. That's cool, and I'm cool with that. That's a kind of freshness in itself. That's dope. Not being cold during a polar vortex is very dope. But being dope in a polar vortex is some other shit. I don't even know what that looks like. I would love to explore it, and that's my job, in a sense. I want to know this stuff. I want to play with this idea. So I'm taking this note, and I'm going to post it, and then see how this influences my design decisions going forward. Like I said, this was the reason I stayed in Detroit this winter. I wanted it to be cold. Well, I'm not like I wanted it, like I'm willing the cold to happen. This place is cold without me. Know that. But also, being here and getting into it, what is it to be able to when it's super cold outside, to be like, it's time to go outside and like do some stuff. I want to know what that's like with something that I've designed specifically for that purpose. In fact, one of my favorite things to do during the summer was to walk in some of the less populated areas and go to the other side of town and get some groceries, wearing my stuff, the stuff that I have, and then walk back, right? So I'll show you one other thing before I close this video out. So, and this isn't particularly attractive, but you can see here, these socks have holes in them, not because I wore them out, but because I cut them so that this piece here, which loops around my toe and connects it to the shoe so that the front doesn't flop around, I cut all of my socks like this, right? So what I have to do, this, as you can see, I've been wearing this for a while, barefoot, and now I'm wearing it with a sock. And so this is, the sensor surface is going to be in here. And so there's a layer that's going to be on the inside, on the skin side, and then on the outside. So this, for instance, I walked on the ice the other night and ate it because there's no grip. So that's something I have to think about, is something that can be attached and held in place. There's a lot of things like that. So, covering the things that I was saying before, waterproofness and cold proofness and all of these things. So there's a lot of adventure that I'm looking forward to playing with this winter, and I at least wanted to make a little video of an interesting before state, so that when the after state comes, it's got that thing, and I can be like, aha, see, I showed you. All right? Cool. Peace.